Ah, the end of another beautiful day on an Orthoblox free. Time for bed. My dreams, though, are haunted by a single word. Spire. But what is it? Spire is hope. Spire is the future. Spire is dominion, and you have forgotten it. What was destroyed in multiple realities can be reimagined. Wake up, Emperor.
Dream on.
Wait.
Oh!
Wait,
Oh my god!
Oh yeah.
It's raining.
Oh dear. Completely normal day.
How did I get on the ship?
Hi, I'm Draken, and this is the Draken Gameworks, and this is not an Orthoblox. We appear to be dreaming, and I feel this sense of drive, this obsession for conquest, that I am going to reach out into this dream, and I am going to conquer this dream. This dream will not conquer me, and though things may go weird over the next couple of weeks, as we explore this dream, and yeah, maybe this isn't a good start, actually. I'm trying to be epic here. Stop interrupting my intro, please. Guardians. Why are there Guardians so close to our spawning in point here? I'm trying to be epic. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to survive this. Yeah. Yeah, let's, never mind that. Scratch that. Take two.
Yes, go ahead.
We need to
I know.
go
I got a cookie.
There's no
Here,
way.
onward, gentlemen, this way. Follow my lead.
Okay.
Somebody is
So, as I was saying, I am Draken.
Oh,
This
no,
is
get
the
him out of here,
Draken
get him out of here.
Gameworks,
No.
and I am determined that I'm not going to be stopped by Guardians, and that I am going to conquer this dream that we all seem to be sharing. There is a large number of us here. So many different names from so many different worlds. It's great to see. But if I am going to conquer this dream, I need to strive out and find a place to start and begin in this world. And I need to gain a load of resources very quickly so that I can actually get on and build things. So I have a plan. I have an idea. And on the screen here, you can see basically a shopping list. These are items I need very quickly within the first couple of days to build a bunch of farms that are going to fuel the beginning of the new Spire Empire here in this fever dream. Now, most of the items on this list should be pretty easy to get. I mean, cobblestone, we can just go and mine for all of that sort of stuff. Some of it we might need to explore for. Things like bamboo and cactus. But some of it's going to be a bit more difficult, and I'm not really looking forward to having to get it. Slime blocks, I know, are going to be difficult, because you're going to need to find either a marsh or a slime chunk to actually go and get those. And there's a couple of things on there, like the blue ice, and also the, I think there's some coral on there as well, which I'm going to need Silk Touch for. So there's some things on that list that I am going to have to actually work really hard to get those items early on for us to begin. But in the meantime, this ocean seems to be going on forever. I mean, is there an end to this ocean at all? I mean, I remember seeing some sort of glimpse into the future put up by Jam that showed there was land just north of the boats. But this looks like the edge of the world.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, you're right.
Hello.
Oh,
Welcome
wow.
to the middle of nowhere. I mean, I
Yeah.
have an edge of the world. I can't proceed any further. There is nothing here.
Yeah, I guess not.
I'll jump on board.
Oh, I mean, we're not going very far, to be honest.
If we go off the edge of the world, I'm blaming
Yeah.
you.
You wouldn't happen to have some wood on you or anything?
I have nothing on me. I literally just swam.
Oh.
I was stranded until you turned up.
Mm-hmm.
And so began our journey north. A journey that would see us crossing oceans and glaciers in this cold, small world around us, barely being able to see through the mists. You just want to get to land. I mean, you've got a bed. You can't do anything with it, but you've got a bed.
Got a bed from like one of the boats.
Finally found land.
You can see blocks.
We're on snow.
We're on the iceberg.
It's not technically land, but it's ice. It will do. It's a start. Watch the polar bear.
Polar bear?
Yeah, there's a polar bear.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think the polar bear has any cubs though, so...
I don't think it can even move.
I think you should go give it a hug.
You give it a hug.
I really don't think that's a good idea.
Okay, well, we're making progress at it. Are we making progress?
I don't know. It feels kind of like progress, but also kind of not.
Yeah.
Do either of you get the impression that if we had just gone south, there would have been land right behind
Some people
those?
found land with cows and stuff. And we're just in the cold.
Yep. More ice.
More ice.
Day 406. I see more snow ahead of me.
More snow.
It makes me want to start singing a song about Let It Go.
No, I'm already copied.
I don't think any of us can afford the
True.
copyright strike. Guys, trees,
No way.
trees,
No
trees
way.
and dirt. Really, seriously. I have found a tree.
This is a miracle.
It's on top of a load of powdered snow, but I have found a tree.
No, that's just snow. That's just
Is that just normal snow?
Oh, that's roots. Yeah.
It's a miracle.
Oh.
I thought that this place would never exist. This is
I
like...
lost hope. I'm so happy right now, you have no idea.
And after that long, difficult journey north and finally finding land, myself and my two companions, Izo Indigo and Its Neck, had finally found land, so we set about beginning what you normally do in Minecraft, punching trees and starting off, and eventually my companions had to leave, but I was out here and realised that with limited resources, I set about building probably what is the worst build I have ever made to create a shelter for my first night. But I still had resources to find with my grand plan in mind, and don't ask where the fish head came from. I'm not sure. That ended up on my head somewhere and not turning into fishing like fished from the beginning of Nova Blocks Season 3. No, but I needed resources. And so, bravely, without even having set a spawn point yet, and having travelled so far, I tackled 5 creepers down in a cave, only to find that these creepers weren't your normal creepers. They were exploding differently. But nonetheless, I needed gunpowder. It was TNTs on my shopping list, so I felt I had to tackle these guys. And it is a fresh new day, and we have woken up to find the mists that made it so difficult to head north yesterday have cleared out a bit more, and we can see a bit more of this world. Give us an opportunity to go out and explore. You know, I think we may have hit the jackpot here. Look at this. This looks beautiful. This isn't the normal sort of terrain that we see in most worlds. I believe this is a village. Oh, this is good news. Right, so when I was planning out my farms to begin with, the one farm I didn't account for that I should have accounted for was actually an iron farm, because I'm going to need a lot of iron for things like the pistons and the hoppers that I need for the initial farms. So actually, I think before we get into those farms, maybe I should be thinking about building an iron farm. Yes, an iron farm would be great to start with, actually thinking about it. So, we're going to need to bring some of those villagers over. But before I do, because I'm going to build a bunch of farms, I think this little area here, we've got a nice little bit of open snow that we can build upon, is going to be a good starting area for our farms. And before I do that, I mean, that hut I built yesterday, that was terrible. I mean, that's an awful sort of design. So, I need something to act as a base of operations. Now, this isn't my starter base. This is the starter base, so to speak. So this is, I talked about this a few episodes ago in Alpha Blocks early on, that when we're tackling big projects, it's a good idea to create a bit of a staging area. Somewhere where you can just get a couple of resources, put it together, you've got your crafting table, your furnace, and some chests. This isn't going to be the final build. But I would like something that's a bit more than just basically a few blocks of dirt and granite that are sitting around to act as that sort of staging ground area. So I'm creating a little bit of a hut here that will temporarily be here. This is just a temporary hut. That is kind of, I don't know, I like the idea of the spruce wood here sort of sitting there. It sort of feels very sort of that sort of northern-esque feel of out in the bitter cold winters and in having our little hut out here in the middle of nowhere. But while I am constructing this, it's a good opportunity to talk more about some of my plans for what's going on with this fever dream that we're a part of. So, I don't intend to sit still. I plan to build my starter base right where we are at the moment, and that will act as like my industrial district. That will generate the resource I need with that shopping list that I showed you earlier. Once we have got our initial resources, we can build our first starter base. We can then start putting out some challenges into the world and start finding ways in which we can live up to this name of being the Emperor of the Spire Empire. And I think I should strive to go out and conquer this dream and make it mine itself. But of course, first we need to get the resources. We need to get it all together and make sure that it is there, ready for us to work with. But yes, I think this hut is actually starting to turn out quite alright. This will do quite nicely for a staging ground. And I think the first thing we're probably going to need to work on is going to be the iron farm. Of course, needing an iron farm, the first thing I needed to do was bring over some villagers from that village itself. Pretty easy. This village isn't that far from where we're actually building our base, so very easy to transport them all the way back over here. Okay, so time to start building the iron farm. So this is going to be our very first farm. This is only the second day we have been on the Fever Dream server, and this design I've used a couple of times before. This is a design that you can find the tutorial for by Shulkercraft. It is up on there, and it served me very, very well a couple of times. I've built various adaptations and variations of this design. It produces quite a nice output of iron for what we require for most of our requirements. course, one of the first steps we've got to do once we're building it. Building the farm itself is pretty easy. The bits that are really actually tricky with building an iron farm is actually doing the herding of the various mobs needed in here. So the first ones are here. These are our resident villagers who are going to become the first members of the Spire Empire here in this fever dream. But they're a little reluctant to go to their new home here. We kind of have to sort of coerce them. Come on, I need you to drop in here, please. Come on, that's it. And yeah, so it's villagers first, and then it's going to have to be the zombies as well, or a zombie that I need to basically keep them in a state that means they keep summoning iron golems. Right, now I need the rest of you. Okay, so what we're building out here. Now, some people when they build iron farms, they wait for nightfall and then they try and find a zombie and try and entice it over. I have a slightly different approach. I build a spawning chamber for the zombie. And they get a little bit difficult, but basically all it is just an enclosed dark space that mobs can spawn in. Now, it will spawn a number of mobs, so you do have to do a little bit of sifting and sorting and killing a few of the creepers and the skeletons that turn up. But eventually you should be able to get a zombie out of this, and then you just need to entice him over to the iron farm itself. Now, when I've built these in the past, I've always built them quite high up in the air. So like with my balloon on an Orthoblocks 3, you know, it's quite high up in the air. So it's pretty easy when you build the spawning chamber in order to get mobs to spawn in it. But because we're quite close to the ground, I'm having to build this tower that you see me raising up on here. This just raises my spawning sphere and prevents the mobs from spawning underground and increases our chances of mobs appearing in the spawning chamber, even in the middle of the day. And unfortunately, I missed the rest of the replay footage. Typical, yes I know, I'm a professional, so they say. But yes, we have completed the iron farm, so there it is, over on the side there. It's a very simple, basic setup. The zombie's in, he's going up and down on a piston to keep the villagers scared, and they're going to spawn iron golems for us. And this is getting us a good, steady supply of iron now. Now that we have this all up and running, and you'll notice we've got a bit of a roof on there. That's just to prevent the water from freezing beneath their sort of bottom slabs so that nothing spawns on top, but it's to prevent the water freezing. But now we've got this running, I think it's time we actually get on with some of the farms we initially wanted to build. So we've got plenty of wood around here, and also with the iron farm now producing a good quantity of iron. It's really quite productive. I'm really surprised at how efficient it is. We're able to now build the sort of the beginnings of our farms. This is basically here is the collection system. I'm not going for any sort of automated sorting system with the collection system like I normally do. There's no multi-farms going on here this time because we're not here for long. So I really just need to get the farms up and running very quickly with the minimal amount of resources that it takes to get them built. And that's the plan here. And I'm working on several farms all at once because the plan is just to get them all up together and running. Now, I've still got a few resources I've got to find, but we are making some progress, as you can see from the shopping list on the screen here. We've got some stuff. We've been able to do a little bit of an exploration around, jumped into the Nether quickly, got some quartz and stuff like that. So we are making some progress towards getting the resources that we need, but there's still a lot more that needs to be gained. But we will steadily, just as we get those resources, add to these farms, and hopefully we can get some of these completed before the others, depending on what resources we've got available, so we can start producing as soon as possible. And progress is coming along quite nicely. I've also got a little bit of an underground mine nearby, so I was able to get some gold, so we were able to do powered rails. You can see right in the front, just beside where I am at the moment, there is the beginning of our furnace array that is going to help with turn it around, and anything that needs to be cooked up in a furnace. And then I've got these farms here you can see here. So I've got the beginning of a sheep farm next to the furnace array. And we're going to have a bamboo farm here. We're going to have a sugarcane farm here. We're going to have a pumpkin farm here as well. I have finished just on the side there. We've got a chicken farm, though I need to go and get some chicken eggs. And I've also got a composter there as well, because we're going to need some bone meal at some point. So we can take some of the organic produce that comes from some of these farms, chuck them in the composter and just let it work its way through, and we can get some bone meal as well. But there's a couple of other nice little farms we're going to include in here. I need to go and build a cactus farm. The next day, I found this in my shed waiting for me. It had a Silk Touch enchantment book from RogueTorso, who also is on Blocks with us. What a gent. He had village traders already up and running. He AFK'd out our iron farm to get some iron for himself, and he left us a Silk Touch book, which we're going to need to get some of those resources that's on our shopping list. And another farm that I didn't think of right at the beginning that I was going to need was going to be a lava farm to help fuel our furnace array. So I needed some sort of dripstone blocks, and we found that this terrain that is generating in this dream has some truly spectacular terrain. I don't need a dripstone cavern because we have this dripstone blocks out here in the open surface world, and in the background we found this place as well. This is the Pillager Towers in this dream world, and look at how beautiful and inspiring these designs are. So I snuck into the tower, and I was able to get a better loot from in the tower as well, which sort of expands our resources. But I just needed to take the opportunity just to explore this, because I saw this out on the landscape and thought, I need to go and look at that. Now, at this point of an episode, normally people would expect me to do some sort of semi-amusing skit for some sort of fake advert in the middle based upon my Minecraft adventures, but this time I want to do a serious shout-out. The first people I want to shout out is the MC Collab station, who are hosting Fever Dream 2. MC Collab is a place where content creators can get together for Minecraft, and they can collaborate together, share ideas, share ways to expand their things out. And if you are a small content creator and not a part of the MC Collab station, I recommend checking out the link down in the description below and getting yourself signed up there. It's a bit late now, unfortunately, to join Fever Dream 2, but there are other collaborative projects that go on all the time, so it is definitely worth getting signed up there. The second people I want to shout out is Winternode. They are the hosts for Fever Dream 2, and the reason I want to shout them out is because things sometimes go wrong. It happens no matter where you are in life, and what counts is the way in which you handle it. And for the first day of Fever Dream 2, things were a little bit bumpy to begin with, but in fairness to both the admins on the MC Collab station and also the people working at Winternode, they worked all the way through the night on New Year's Day to try and get those issues resolved to make it as smooth as it was from that point forward. So a big shout out to these guys. This isn't a sponsored advertisement at all in any shape or form. I just wanted to recognize those guys for the great work that they did. And finally, I want to shout out, of course, Blocks. I have been in Blocks since Season 1. It is where I do most of my content creation, and several of the other Blocks members are also here on Fever Dream. We are all here, and it is a very enjoyable series of a bunch of just good friends doing good content creation, not just with my stuff, but I also recommend checking out all the other content creators on Blocks. And of course, with that in mind, I am going to put that little reminder in here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There are a couple of things that I need from elsewhere in the world, so I've had to venture out from the north and travel south, where we have these great big white cliffs that greeted a lot of the players on the first day, because I found out most people headed south. Now, in fairness, I just did shout out in chat at the beginning for everyone to head south, but I missed it because I was recording an intro, and I ended up heading north because I was basing it upon Jampot's trailer, thinking that was how the world laid out. It was a bit of a fake out, unfortunately, but still, nonetheless, it gives us an opportunity to come south and have a look at the terrain down here. And just as in the north, the terrain is beautiful, the south is equally as beautiful. These warm, lush cliffs and jungles that exist down here. And in a private chat the other day, we were talking with Iondus, and Ines was talking about the fact that we went north, and she jokingly called me King of the North. And you know what? I think I'm going to take that title. I'm going to own that title. I've come here to make conquest and dominion. I've gone to the north and I'm building this big powerhouse of a farm. So yes, I think I'm going to take the title King of the North. On another side, our shopping list is coming on quite nicely now, as you can see on the list here. And coming south, we're just looking for things like the bamboo and everything else to add here. I needed some cactus, and these are the sort of things you're not going to find up in the frozen wastelands high in the north. And while we were down here, we also bumped into Sunny, who comes from the Unorthodox blocks as well, and we had a bit of a sort of exploration. We found this lovely village that we sat in here, and she showed me where there was a nice tropical ocean where I'll be able to get the coral fan with the silk touch that Rogue gave us, as well as point us in the direction of this beautiful oasis as well that we discovered. The terrain is really beautiful throughout the whole of Fever Dream, and I think everyone is really enjoying exploring the landscape that we have around us. After our exploration south, there was really just one more item to find on our list, and the most difficult one of the lot, and that was going to be slime balls. But thankfully, both Omelette and Ionis had located marshlands or swamps out in the world. So we had travelled quite some distance. It's about 3,000 blocks away to this marshland here. There's this overworld marshland, because finding slime chunks in this world is going to be incredibly difficult. Now, slimes can spawn on the surface in swamplands, but it does require a little bit of a different style sort of farming compared to how you would normally do it in a slime chunk. So the first step I did was I came down here and I started removing a load of trees in the area, because the best way to farm slimes is to wait until night, let them spawn, but unfortunately other mobs also spawn. Then get it over to daytime, because slimes can still survive in the day, but the other mobs will start burning up. But in the middle of a swampland, these trees are going to provide cover to those burning mobs so they can hide and tuck under here. So if we remove the trees, this removes all the cover that they have when it turns to day, and means that they will start burning up or have to move much further away so that we can actually then just deal with the slimes that are left over. That alone didn't seem to do the trick for me though, however. I did a few nights waiting there with all the area cleared out of various trees that could have provided cover. We got one small slime turn up. So I thought I'd go back to, you saw me build a tower above the mob spawner that I built for the iron farm earlier. So I thought I'd build a more permanent post out here in the swamps that does pretty much the same idea. So by setting up here at night, we are lifting basically what is known as the spawning sphere that occurs around a player higher up in the world, which means it is less likely that we're going to be triggering mobs that are going to be underground, and we're only going to really be triggering the mobs that are on the surface around the base of this tower when it comes to spawning at night. By doing this, then we can encourage the slimes to spawn on the surface along with other mobs. Of course, then we wait for it to go to day, they burn up, we jump down from the tower, there's like a little pool of water at the base of this tower that I can jump into from up here, and then I can just go off and kill the nearby slimes. Yeah, this slime tower is becoming a bit of a build, actually, it seems. I've put a roof on it as well, just to protect me from any phantoms occurring at night, because I haven't set my spawn down here. Thankfully, keep inventory is on, so I didn't want to set my spawn in this area, which does mean it's a little tricky, because we don't want to actually die fighting, otherwise we're going to have to travel 3,000 blocks to get here. But it does mean when I finish here, I can just dive from the top of the tower, and I'll keep my inventory and respawn back at the base that I've started. And it does actually work. So here we are, we have some slimes occurring. So I was able to get some slime balls. It takes a little bit of patience, and slimes only tend to spawn better at certain phases of the moon as well. That affects the slime spawning in the marsh. But when the phases are right, we do get the slime spawning on the surface here, and I'm able to get the slime balls that I need to build slime blocks. Though we do have to watch out, like you see there, for the creeper that can get in the way and other mobs. One other trick I thought I would try, because I was still struggling to get enough spawning, was to light the area up. Now this may seem strange, but actually slimes will spawn at a random sort of interval at a light level below 7. Whereas all other mobs require a light level of 0 now since the last couple of updates in Minecraft. So by putting these lights slightly up in the air, it means the ground level is at least at 7 or below, but never at 0. This should encourage around the base of the tower only the slimes to spawn at the base of the towers, and not the other mobs. And here we are. I've been out here because I needed just under a stack of slime blocks, and this should provide me these ones, my last slime balls that I need. There's only a couple more I need, and then I can go back to my base and finish the farms that I had intended. And that's it. Our shopping list is complete. We have all of the items. You can see in the background the final one assembled there. If you saw the boom tree that I built in the early episodes of Season 3 of North Blocks, that may look very familiar. It's basically the bare skeleton version of boom tree. There is a TNT duper sitting above basically a cobblestone generator. This will generate a large amount of cobblestone for us, which we're going to need for our builds. I can't be bothered to go out there and mine loads and loads of cobblestone by hand, so the cobblestone generator here is going to help us out quite significantly. It's very efficient. I only need to run it for short periods of time just to produce large amounts of cobblestone. But with that said, I don't think I've done enough in the first week of Fever Dream yet. I think it's time that I really get serious about building. Welcome to Fort Wynter Fever, my starter home in the north, the powerhouse for the Spire Empire, here on Fever Dream. I'm very proud of how this build actually turned out. I basically just felt my way through it. It's kind of a revisit back to the first season of North Blocks. It has that sort of fantasy medieval feel to it, but what I like about this being set out in this icy lands, it also has a bit of that sort of feeling of sort of Skyrim, Elder Scrolls as well mixed in there a little bit, and I'm very happy with how this turned out for basically a week 1 build. We also have our actual court here as well, and this is where my throne sits, as well as a connection to the Nether network via the portal. You may notice as we were building this as well, I built a creeper farm into here. This is because people have started to explore the end, so there's going to be a real need for gunpowder. And that's part of the reason why I built the tower that you see. Now, I did design the tower initially with this one particular design for the floor. I wasn't too happy with it, so I changed it out from what you saw in the time lapse to what you see now. And I'm a bit happier with it. I don't 100% love it, but I don't hate it. So I'm going to stick with what it's got at the moment. But this is where we begin to expand our empire from. This is Fort Wynter Fever in the north. And nearby, also, Itznek has built his starter house here as well. And so we're starting to get a little bit of a community up here. But from here, I will rule over the north as the king of the north. We've also built a stores here. Now, if I am to become king of the north, how do you become a king? Well, the first thing is you declare you're king, and then you get enough other people to declare that you're king. So all the items here are being sold for 1 diamond per slot, as is stacked in each of the slots. But I'm also saying that once per day, each person on the server can come and visit here and claim 1 slot for free, as long as they type in chat, "All hail Draken, king of the north." In this way, we get recognized as the legitimate king of the north, as well as emperor of the Spire Empire. But this is only the beginning. I plan to build these little towers that I got an example of here, to begin expanding our influence across the whole of the Fever Dream. I'm going to look to recruit knights to help us construct these, and to keep these towers under our control and prevent any other powers that might exist out in the Fever Dream from taking control, so that by the end of this dream, by the time that we wake, we will be the ruler of the dream. And so we bring an end to our episode here. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. I have been Draken. I am the Emperor of the Spire Empire and King of the North in the Fever Dream. Take care, all. Go and check out the whole series. It's brilliant. We're in our 3rd season at the moment. We're having great fun at the... We're again in English. You have done well, but there is still a long path ahead of you to really exert your dominance as the ruler of the dream. You know what you must build.